Our next speaker is with One to Blue, the One to Blue initiative, which first came together in January 2017 at the Indivisible Women Nevada County Gather-Up. They have been working ever since to lay the groundwork for a grassroots campaign that will turn our district blue. I introduce you to our very own Indivisible woman, Barbara Chapman.
And I'm just going to give you an update on where we think we are in this process. And first of all, I'd like to, the first slide, what we want. And we've been wanting this for a long time. We're looking, as Heidi said, to transform this entire district. We want to have an educated and empowered electorate. We want a place where voters are representative accountable, where wealthy interests don't control public policy, where government works for every community, and where citizens focus on real issues. It is about transformation, changing the way people see their role in politics. But let's be practical. Midterm elections are tough. You can see here that both sides do struggle. You can see here even the red people in 2014 lost a lot of votes relative to 2012, but so did we. In fact, most of the time, the blue side, our side, struggles more than the red side. Doing the math, basically, we need to find 50,000 more votes. And you're probably saying to yourself, uh-oh. The next slide shows you that they are already out there. 41,000 voters stayed home in 2014 after voting blue in 2012. 77,000 registered voters didn't even go to the polls in 2016. And 107,000 eligible citizens didn't even register for that critical election. Well, that's way more than 50,000.
Yeah.
So here's where the potential blue voters are in our counties. In Butte, 36,000 not registered, 21,000 couldn't drag themselves to the polls. In Shasta, it's a huge number also. But all the way down, you can see that there are lots and lots of not registered people and lots of people who stayed home. So, how do we do it? Well, number one, you've nominated great. And you can see from her endorsements that she's got local and national support already. This is a huge base. Next, we want to establish a network of blue volunteers and donors. And this is a map here. You can see that an awful lot of the population is on the I-5 corridor in towns. And we know from the registration numbers that more than half, close to 60% of all voters in this district are in these townships. So getting out the vote starts with organizing and mobilizing supporters in as many of these townships as possible. So next slide. And the third thing, of course, is that we need to get out, educate, and empower our electorate. Many people don't participate in elections because they think it doesn't matter and nobody cares. We have to convince them that's not true. There are so many ways to reach out to blue voters. and personal contact is the very best. So, recipe for success. It's the Trinity. And I don't mean to be sacrilegious. This is the holy Trinity of Cajun cooking. You know, onions, celery, and bell peppers. This is onions, celery, and bell peppers of the campaign. First of all, we need volunteers. Grassroots campaigns require an army. And effective campaigns recruit, organize, and mobilize those volunteers. Secondly is money. Obviously, we've been talking about that some already today. Every aspect of a campaign has a cost. These are real costs. So grassroots campaigns require an army of donors. We have to be that army. And finally, the third thing that people don't think about a whole lot is information. Because there's never enough time or money or woman power to do everything that needs to be done. So smart use of data can make every one of these efforts go farther. Next slide, please. So, making it happen. Next slide. First of all, here's some information for you. Malfa is vulnerable. This is an analysis of the primary results in 7 districts within California that went for Hillary but have a GOP incumbent, or had. 2 of them in California, 39 and 49, decided they weren't going to run again. But all 7 of them have been targeted by national Democrats, state Democrats, and at least 6 more organizations that are determined to flip these. The GOP is terrified. They've already applied huge amounts of dark money. The Russian trolls are already active in these districts, even in the primary. But, check this out. I threw in California 1. We're not in play, right?
Yes, we are.
And here's Doug LaMalfa right in the middle of the pack of these endangered Republicans. So, why is that? Well, one reason is that half of our voters are not Democrats. So if you're looking at Democratic registration, you know, you're going to say, well, this is not a flippable district. But nonpartisan voters all through California vote blue. They vote late. They're hard to persuade. You got to get into the polls. But when you do, they vote blue. And in District 1, there are enough nonpartisan voters to account for the fact that LaMalfa could only get 50% of the vote in the primary, just like these other endangered. He didn't even do as well as some of the other incumbents in those districts that are considered in play. So let's break this down a little bit. By this measure, 3 of our counties, Butte, Nevada, and Siskiyou, are already blue. We already knew about Nevada. And in Butte, we knew they were close. But Siskiyou? I have to tell you, Robin Richards and her grassroots campaign up in Siskiyou, they've been working really hard up there, and it looks like it's having an effect. Now, here's a bunch of counties that are evenly split. Placer, Plumas, and you're scratching your head and you're saying, Tehama? What? Tehama. And finally, here we have the reddish ones. Shasta, which is our second biggest county. But this is the pie for, the registration pie for Shasta. It's doable. And Lassen, of course, is redder, but it's a whole lot smaller. Okay, next. I mentioned to you this, two pieces of information now. One is that Lamafa is vulnerable, and two, that we can do this if we bring along the NPPs, the no-party voters.
Some of them are here today.
We love you. You can make a difference. So here's another piece of information that we need to understand as we go through our counties and develop a plan for making sure that we get out the vote. I have plotted here this registration data by age. With the green bars are young voters, that is under 36. And in brown is the senior voters, like me, who are over 65. And you can see here, for example, in Plymouth, that there are twice as many older voters than younger voters. And you're saying, well, what difference does this make? Well, for example, younger voters, and younger people in general, communicate primarily by text, using emojis. And whereas seniors tend to communicate by email in complete sentences. Now here in Butte, we have almost the flip of that, which is that there are more young voters in Butte than seniors. So is one size fits all? No. And also, these older voters are worried about Social Security and Medicare, and the younger voters are worried about student debt. So we have to be aware of the voting population in each of these counties. It's not the same, and we can be smart about how we motivate people. Okay, next slide. I want to tell you a little bit about One to Blue's donor ID project. This was the brainchild of a professor at UC Berkeley, David Stern, who's a wonderful friend of our district, and he was determined to help us flip it. The idea is to use the donor database, which is the Federal Election Commission database, at a place called opensecrets.org, which is the website of the Center for Responsive Politics. This is an anti-citizens united group. We started looking at donor profiles for zip codes in all the towns in District 1. And we found some really astonishing results. And first of all, I want to give you an idea of the sample of recipients of these blue contributions. These are donors to everything from Act Blue, Committee for Hispanic Causes, Courage Campaign, Emily's List, End Citizens United, House Majority PAC, Justice Democrats, Red to Blue California, Swing Left, Vote Vets, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren. We found 130 different organizations that people are contributing to in towns all across this district. And next slide, which really blew us away. We compared 2016 contributions to 2018 contributions. We picked 5 towns, Red Bluff and Tehama, Redding and Shasta, Penn Valley in Nevada, Weed in Siskiyou, and Quincy in Plymouth. If you look here, in 2016, the entire cycle, about 45% of the contributions were going to blue causes, candidates, and PACs. In 2018, that has jumped up to 75%. Redding and Shasta is not far behind. They were doing a little better. They were over 50% in 2016. Now they're running close to 80%. And look at Quincy. Quincy's on fire. They were doing 90%, and now they're up to like 96% blue recipients. These people are contributing, maybe not large dollar amounts, but they are really opening up their wallets. We don't know how they're registered. We don't know if they're NPPs or Republicans or whatever. All we know is where their heart is. And these people can be the core of our town hubs and donors to the campaign, help us organize, put out yard signs and so forth, because we know what they believe in. So just to give you an example, here in Butte, we have two towns that have hundreds of donors. Paradise, Chico, in Nevada City, yay! Penn Valley, Grass Valley, Placer, North Auburn, Plymouth, Quincy, I mentioned before. In Shasta, there's Redding and Cottonwood. It turns out the chair of the Democratic Central Committee, Judy Turner, lives in Cottonwood. Bless her heart. Okay, then we have in Siskiyou is Weed, and Mount Shasta is on fire. And finally, Tanglewood, my grandmother's birthplace, Red Bluff. Okay, next. So I'd like to close with two things. One is we should adopt Assembly District 1. In the next slide, I want to show you, it's really the same district. We've got Siskiyou and Modoc and 6 counties basically up here, and we also share parts of Butte, Nevada, and Placer. So it's really overlaps about 90%. In the next slide, I want to show you the person that we should send. Sisk worked for her. She's one of us, and she can really make a difference. So I just want to close with my summary slide. We are the blue wave.